Yeah, but we are a hacking conference.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you owned a share in the equipment, that might kind of cut the legs out from under them as far as holding back goes. And the second question I had, is that guy still breathing?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Don't worry.
He fought the good fight.
He's had a very long week, but he's been up in the morning and helping us out every day, so.
Hi. Do you guys offer any type of service, consultation, or anything to the host hotel to help mitigate some of the computer malfunctions that might be happening during the conference?
No comment. No. Nothing.
Typically we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they come to us and say, hey, we're having a problem.
Do they ever do that?
We did
What's
with
that?
we did with the Riv. They did ask us to, for whatever reason, block outbound connections from us to the Riv websites, for instance. So it's a delicate line when working with the hotel that we, there's some back and forth, but when they ask for something, we see what we can do. But typically we're segmented off. If you think something's happening in the network because of us, then, we can talk about that specifically, but we are segmented off. It can only come out through our head end. So we have an idea of what's going on there.
Now, this is very different from what we experienced at the Alexis Park, where we pretty much owned their entire network and would come in, and it was great. From the perspective, at the time, we were very small, smaller. And we were able to go in there and just sort of take over the network and do what we needed to do. And, now we're dealing with a much larger network, much larger, venue, and then the whole issue between the casino gaming issues and the convention center. So it's a totally different ballgame now. But we have meetings throughout DEF CON. We're constantly in contact with hotel management. We have very open communication about what's going on and what they're experiencing. And while we don't out and out offer to help secure their network per se, we do make ourselves available for questions. And if they do need something, they know we're willing to help.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, and thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Just had a question. You guys showed some graphs and metrics. Do you guys keep track of that and make it publicly available?
Yeah, you can actually see it on defconnetworking.org.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, we usually will put together a presentation and then put all those graphs up afterwards.
The graphs are actually up already.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Something.
Most of us eventually made it back to our hotel rooms, and when you flip through the TV, we basically saw the desktop of your laptops or machines or whatever sitting there. I don't know if you record those, but would it be possible to record the talks and then queue them all up and for the talks for the day, just play them in a loop at night?
You mean like a PVR?
Yeah, right.
Well, actually, so the situation is such that we can't do that, partially because the talks are recorded and sold, and also because with this hotel, we have agreed not to replay talks due to, since we're putting on a cable system that we can't lock down, that means anybody who's in the hotel can see those talks. So by not replaying them, we're providing them with a sort of plausible deniability. Yep, they said something in the talk that the customer didn't like, but it's not being replayed. So.
Okay. Yes,
Yep.
they asked us if the speakers wouldn't swear. We said we cannot.
This was our compromise.
What made me think about it, I had to do some work, and I was sitting there flipping through the channels waiting for stuff to happen, and I watched part of Jeopardy.
And actually,
and I'm thinking, if other people in the hotel who have nothing to do with DEF CON are sitting there watching Jeopardy, we might as well show them something more informational. It was fun, but anyway.
Now, next year, we're looking at putting something in between the talks as well, so that there's not that, the VLC desktop sitting on the screen in between the talks. But again, this year, while we did get DCTV up, and it was, it was a win, it was still a challenge, so we were working with what we could.
Look out for next year, because it'll be better.
Okay.
Hi guys. I was wondering if you guys were planning to put up maybe documentation of how you guys did the things you did, or maybe some best practices for people that want to set up, in other environments that are hostile as well.
I don't know if best practices is the right term to use on this network. But yeah, so we've been debating about it. Well, not really debating about it. We've been lazy about it for a few years. This year I did, like, for particularly the firewall configs, the switch configs, those are actually stored in a Git repository. Once I scrub it, I'm going to make it available on GitHub, scrub it and get some sign-offs on it. I want to make sure everyone's cool on it. But yeah, we're going to be putting that together and putting it available. So check out defconnetworking.org, and we should have some stuff up there hopefully in a couple weeks.
And thanks for all you do.
No problem.
Thank you.
I just had one thing that would have been, I mean, I don't know if it's doable or not, but with the TV, it'd be kind of cool if we had like the PowerPoints in the corner as they're speaking.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know it's obviously probably a big challenge and more to
Gotta
feed
get it
through.
mixed.
Yeah, well, actually what we actually wanted to do that. We wanted to combine some of that stuff. It's an equipment challenge that we weren't ready to face this year. We may have time and planning to actually do that next year. So yes, we agree. We actually wanted to switch it over to just the PowerPoints, but again, we'd have to have scan converters and stuff that we didn't have hardware access to. So.
If we hadn't had the challenges that we did have, I think there was a pretty good chance we would have gotten to doing that this year, but we just ran out of time and we would have been changing things halfway through the talks if we did.
Two quick questions. I hear you use PF firewall, is that correct?
Yes.
I think you're specifically in charge of it. Is it fair to say that you think the same of PF GUIs like PF sense in the same sense that a lot of IP tables folks think of IP tables GUIs? Is it kind of looked down upon over just PF itself from the command line? Is it one big PF?
In a lot of ways, it depends on the tool you have, or depends on your level and the tool you have. We're pretty comfortable with a lot of the interfaces, and we do a lot of things that the interfaces don't necessarily want to do, so we need to be able to customize it. But
so
again,
tools like pfSense are good for an end user type person. But when they get into our realm, we've got 200 VLANs, which would all have really goofy rules defined on it. I mean, if you go in and actually do a listing of the PF rule set on a pfSense box, there's things that they do, rules that they put in there to make it easy so you don't stomp on yourself, screw yourself up essentially. We don't want that. We want full control of it. So we screw
ourselves a lot.
You want to shoot yourself?
Yeah, we do it just fine without having to have a GUI to troubleshoot. So, but we're done?
Yeah, so we're going to...
but PF is much better than IP tables.
Yeah, PF's good. All right, real fast, we're going to sneak it in. We want to hear your feedback. We want to know what you think, what improvements you want to see, et cetera, et cetera. So at least I'm going to be available. I know a couple other people are going to be available over there for at least a little bit. If we have to, we'll move to the real track 1 Q&A space. So come talk to us. And you can always email knock@defconnetworking.org too with your questions and feedback. Cool. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.